Test, test, test.
Doop, beep, beep, beep.
Meow, meow, meow.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow, 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 meow.
Hi.
Hi. Where are your headphones?
I don't want to wear them today.
Okay. That's fine. Airplane.
Plain air.
Plane something. Plane. Oh, that breeze feels so good.
Plain potato chips.
Today got a little too toasty for me.
Yeah?
I'm like 75. 80 is okay.
Uh-huh.
Anything, even 81, can't do it. Too much.
It has been, that's been our high temperature for the last couple days.
Well, right, and this is my first year on T, the summer.
Oh, right.
And I'm sweating balls.
Sweating balls.
I'm sweating balls.
That's how trans men get balls. You take HRT and then you sweat them out.
Yeah, they just drop down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, Nicholas and I were watching. Yes, have you seen Yellow Jackets?
You've asked me before, and I haven't watched it yet.
We were watching that show, and this guy is playing a puzzle in a really quiet house, just some soft music in the background. He's got his laptop propped up in case he needs it for whatever.
Uh-huh.
And the words came out of my mouth and I couldn't even stop them. And I just went, "That's my kind of man right there." And Nicholas looks at me and goes, "That's your kind of man?"
It's like, it's you.
I know. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's you, babe. It's you." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Not a 6'5" ginger. Like, you want somebody that's the size of a hobbit?" He goes, "Oh, so Frodo is your kind of man, not a 6'5" ginger."
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Isn't
that nuts?
No, because I have no interest in it. And he goes, "Oh, so is that what we need to do? Is we need to watch Lord of the Rings? I'll put those on our movie list." And I went, "No, I don't want to watch those. I don't want to watch those."
3.5 hour movies, they have to be really freaking good.
God.
For me to sit there.
So I used to be like, "Oh God, I hate 90-minute movies. They're too quick. I want like a good 2-hour movie. I can't stay up for more than an hour at a time watching a movie now." I'm like, I'm bored. That's so bad.
So bad.
Oh, we should probably say hi to the people.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our podcast.
I'm Larz. My pronouns are he and him.
And my name is Jaron. My pronouns are also he and him. He and him.
He, him.
Him. And
Yep.
we are your hosts of Typically Divergent Podcast. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day if you celebrate that.
Yes.
That's for the fallen soldiers, right? I'm not a very patriotic person, so.
I used to be. I used to be very patriotic and red, white, blue, and I don't even like having American flags in my house. We have one on the fridge and it's upside down. On purpose.
I hate those three colors together.
Because we are distressed, so we put it upside down.
That's good.
The only American flag I have I take the back. The only American flag I have in my house is from, it was my great uncle's.
Yeah.
And he was in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And I have his casket flag.
Oh.
It's in a,
I've seen that.
yeah, it's in a case.
Yeah. It's all like folded up really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I have.
I know most of our listeners are from America, but I don't feel very American, you guys. I don't know how you feel. All this shit going down with the anti-trans legislations and don't say gay bill and all of this stuff that everyone before when Trump was getting voted in, and I said these are concerns of mine, and everyone was all like, "Oh, nothing's going to happen to you and your community." And now things are, and I'm like, okay, I feel like you owe me something now because of all of that.
Yep.
And also just, I don't know, sorry. All of the patriotism is turning into a scary situation.
Mm-hmm. It's looked at as like you're extremist.
Yeah.
It's a complex thing right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad because the idea of America is amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, everything on
But
paper.
it's not, right, it's not something that has been fulfilled.
No.
And it never was, if we look at it, because from the beginning of our nation, we have literally slaves like would build this country.
Yeah.
So like it's like there was no good beginning.
No, no. This country was founded on colonialism and taking things over away from people.
Yeah.
And killing them. And then American education system is like, we came to America and had food with the indigenous people. And now how did we go from this feast to like owning all of this land? You don't want to talk about all of the negative things that you guys did to take over this land. And that part of the education system is now under threat because of the book bannings. And
I'm glad that you mentioned the natives, because really they experienced our colonialism first.
Right.
They were subjugated to that first.
Yeah.
Our shit. Which is a great segue into our conspiracy theories today.
Hey guys, we're gonna do some conspiracy theories today. No particular reason other than the fact that it just sounded like fun, and I know that Larz has some really good ones.
I have one, and it's probably something that most people have never heard before.
And that is exactly why I wanted you to bring it to the table.
Yeah.
Before that. Mental health. How are we doing?
I'm at a positive 7. Like we're going up.
A positive 7. No, okay.
We're going up.
It's a 7.1.
Earlier this week, I was very overwhelmed, and I was probably living for it's Wednesday, or it's Monday. Sorry, it's Monday. It's technically Monday. It's technically Wednesday, but anyway.
Oh wow, he is glitching.
I am glitching. My dad had surgery, and it took a lot of energy out of me, because I was being a caretaker for him.
Yeah.
With getting him to his surgery, having to work, get off, take him back home. He lives in Battle Creek. Physically, I'm tired, and emotionally, I need like a day to just not do anything.
That was supposed to be today, and yet I still told Nicholas, I was like, we still need to leave the house. So I can't do days where I don't do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. It's hard. I have to force myself sometimes, because it's important for me just to not go out or anywhere, just to reset at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you. But I'm going up now. Now that that's over, I don't have to worry about it anymore. He's done really well. He's at home.
It's over.
Yeah, he had his hip replaced. It's really good. Had it all. Oh,
he had his hip replaced.
So
hip hip hooray!
No kidding.
Sorry,
that was a dad joke of all dad jokes.
Sorry.
It's hard watching your parents grow up and become old.
I don't look at my dad like he is getting old, because I don't know, he's always stayed the same in my mind.
He's also, your dad's been physically fit most of his life, right?
Yeah.
See, my dad has always struggled with disabilities, whether it be his hearing or his leg, is why he had his hip replacement, because he had Percy's when he was growing up.
Percy's?
It's a disease that's very, very uncommon in children.
Okay.
Where the blood in the socket of your hip stops flowing, and it became dry and brittle, and it busted, and he became crippled for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
His legs were never even, because they didn't allow him to walk for 2 years.
Oh.
His left leg was almost 2 inches shorter than his right leg.
Oh.
So my dad's 62. So up until now, he's had a limp, and that limp has been crushing his hip bone. And so he's been in the last few weeks in excruciating pain.
Not to make a joke about your dad, but has he been walking in that formation where like they're overcompensating for that weak hip so bad that like when they go to take a step with the other side of their body just like takes a whole, like it dips and like swings.
Yeah, he had a really bad limp.
Like trying to drop that booty.
And yeah, so I'm just really happy that he got it done. But it's sad, because like he would have been so much happier if he got it done earlier. But they always say to wait until you absolutely have to get it hip replacement because you could potentially have to do another one in your life, later in life.
Yeah, because
so he waited.
Those parts that they put in your body are not meant to last forever.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half. They kept him overnight because of his heart is still kind of recovering from his heart attack. But they had him up and walking around the next day. Like they don't.
No, you gotta.
Yeah, they make you move now.
Joints.
Like I remember back in the day when we were kids, like people would have hip replacements. They'd be out for like a week. And they wouldn't want him to get up or anything, but now they're just like putting him in fake cars in the hospital, making him like get in and out of cars and like everything. It's really fascinating. Wow. Anyway, so yeah.
Wow,
if anybody else is getting a hip replacement or knows somebody who's getting a hip replacement, it's actually a pretty smooth process, so don't worry. How was your week?
It was fine. Dozer thought it was a really good idea to run through the front screen door this week and jump off of the porch to chase after a cat. And that porch is like 2.5, 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
And he already has enough joint problems and problems with his degenerative back disease that he obviously didn't break anything on his body because he wasn't yelping. But later that evening, we get into bed and Nicholas was like, "What's wrong, bud? Like,
Yeah.
God, like you're whining because you tried to get up." I was like, "Oh my God, Dozer, what's going on?" And then it like dawned on me. I was like, "Oh, that's right. You did run out of the house today chasing a cat." Yeah, he's been doubling up on some of his
Did you Evel Knievel?
some of his medication lately, and he is fine. Everybody, don't worry. If he really needed medical attention, it would be very obvious.
What's your mental health at right now?
I'm fine. It's all right. I'm gonna say a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been practicing vulnerability in the house, and God, does that fucking suck.
Yeah.
We had a small little rift. And I knew that we would deal with it when I got home from work, but instead of dealing with it when I got home from work, I thought, well, it would be a good idea just to shave my head. So I am bald again, everybody. I started to grow my hair out, and I only lasted 6 months before I cut it all off. Then I went to therapy that day, and I came home, and Nicholas went to a birthday party. I was going to go with him, but I was like, nope, I'm not feeling it because there's something that we got to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it in the car on our way there. And I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, meaning like I don't want him to have a bad time at this party, and I don't want to be masking if I'm still dealing with the situation. So he came home. I didn't even tell him. He came home at like 11:30 at night, and he like walked in the door and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine, but can we talk about this morning?" So we practiced a conversation of vulnerability, and I just wanted to fall apart after having it. And we're laying in bed, and I voiced out loud, I was like, I feel myself shutting down, and I feel like I need to separate myself from you. Like, I feel like maybe you may not want me to be here right now.
Yeah.
He goes, I want you to be here. And I said, okay. If anybody out there has ever been told as a child, like, go to your room, that feeling was coming up. Like, it was like, I felt like I needed to go isolate myself from him to go deal with whatever it was that was going on with me. So I voiced that, and he said, no, I want you to stay right here. And I said, okay. We went to bed, and I woke up the next day, and I said, all right, it's a new day. Let's start over again.
Good.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for saying that.
It gets easier.
I hope so, because that shit fucking sucks.
It gets easier. Jenny and I being together for 15 years, we still have to practice that. But it's about establishing trust.
I don't fucking know, dude. It is tough standing your ground about something and knowing that the other person is upset, knowing that you caused that, like that. I hate that. And then like I can hear Erica in the back of my head. She's like, you're going to upset somebody either way. The best thing to do is like do what's best for you, and you can't control other people's emotions. And it's just so much easier for me just to be like, let me sacrifice myself so that you're happy.
But it's harder though.
In the long run, it is harder. Yeah, because it eats you up and it tears you down.
Yeah.
Your girl just texted me. Please tell him not to talk about that.
But I am. But I am.
Okay, so everybody, today we're going to be doing some conspiracy theories. We are not doing no QAnon bullshit conspiracy. I don't know, like whatever. Oh shit, my phone was not on airplane mode that whole fucking time. Ugh, sorry, there was weird noise in the background, guys. So yeah, we're gonna do conspiracies today. I think they're fun. Larz has some interesting ones to talk about. There is a little bit of a danger with conspiracy theories, because some of them become so believable that I'm like, oh, like that totally makes sense. That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like this issue with the term conspiracy theory because in the past it was used to deflect factual information by the government or news sources. And people that believed certain things were called conspiracy theorists to devalue the information that they were bringing to the table and to basically not like criminalize them as like a bad person, but to dehumanize that person and make them out to be considered like crazy or sad people, because it's easier to deflect and make somebody out to look like they don't know what they're talking about when there is a high probability that they actually do. So real quick, the definition, if anybody actually even needs to know, but just in case, the definition of the word conspiracy theory is a belief that some secret but influential organization is responsible for an event or a phenomenon. I think like the phrase conspiracy theory like really blew up after 9/11. Do you remember that movie that came out after 9/11 happened, and it was like the
Fahrenheit 9/11?
Yes.
With Michael Moore?
Yes. Everyone was like, oh, it's all fake, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like there was some information that's like, you can't deny that these are facts here.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is government paperwork signed by government officials, but because it made them look bad, people that believed this were called conspiracy theorists. One that I totally believe is that fluoride in our water is not meant to it's not beneficial for our teeth. It's to make us more dumb because it calcifies your pineal gland. And a lot of that stuff that calcifies your pineal gland, they're using that to prevent us as spiritual, powerful beings to be able to tap into our mental capacity and the things that we can do with our brains, because it's easier to control the masses when they're distracted or if they can't learn. And I think also that's partially what's going on with the band bookings, because if a society can't learn, then they can't stand up for themselves. There's that one. 9/11 was an inside job. That one I totally believe.
Yes.
I do believe that the Illuminati is some satanic cult run in the Hollywood Hills.
Same.
And the best part about all of that, especially with that one, is that they're like, a lot of this stuff is like hidden in plain sight. And so, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm totally part of the Illuminati, and make it sound like they're make it sound like they're joking to prevent the seriousness of the conversation from happening.
Right.
So do up. Do you want to go first with some, or?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So I've got a couple good ones. I am going to go a little deep into one.
Okay.
These are a couple silly ones. Some of these celebrities are like reptilians, and that's why some of them never age. And I would totally believe some of that because it's
there's some actors that don't look like they've aged a day.
No, they've got all of the they're using the same preservatives in their skincare that McDonald's uses for their hamburgers.
No kidding. Well, remember, this was probably years ago. I think I first learned about this in like 2014, 15. There was this huge conspiracy, mostly among the conservatives and the Republicans, or like it was a little bit before Pizzagate, where they were thinking that celebrities were using like young children's
trigger warning for underage sexual assault.
Yes.
But yes, they were using the foreskin and blood of
of
like,
just children
of
or in
children.
general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That just sounds so nuts, but you never know, man.
I know, but then you've got celebrities who are like on TV and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we went over to so and so's house and we had pizza." And it's like, what's going on with pizza? And pizza was being used as code word for like underage children.
Well, they
right?
were saying like Pizza Hut, like they were gathering at a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And like Hillary Clinton was thrown in there, like she was getting blamed for like being behind it, and
this gets intertwined with like Epstein, right? And like his island.
Fucking Epstein.
Here's one on Walt Disney that he became the punchline to countless popsicle jokes after word spread that he had himself, or possibly just his head, cryogenically frozen and buried beneath Disneyland to be reanimated in the future when the technology exists.
Reanimated.
So like zombie Jesus.
Yep.
The Hollywood heavyweight and technological innovator guarded his privacy so closely in life that it should come as no surprise that he was equally private about his death. Very little is known about his funeral and burial arrangements. For all we know, Walt is still out there somewhere planning the day he can open Disney Galaxy on the moon.
That sounds like a Disney adult just kind of put that on the internet because that's what they hope.
Getting excited and
they hope
that he comes back.
Jesus, he was anti-Semitic. He was an asshole.
Ew, gross. We don't like that.
Yeah,
we don't.
Sorry,
like
Disney.
That.
So sorry, Disney adults, but it's time to lean into hard history with that because that's legit.
Avril Lavigne
is dead.
Avril Lavigne is dead. Avril Lavigne's debut album, Let Go, arrived with a bang on June of 2002, but her time at the top of the charts was short-lived. According to popular conspiracy theory, the Skater Boy singer secretly died in 2003. A body double named Melissa Vandella replaced her and went on to release the 2004's Under My Skin, which included subliminal messages pointing to the truth. The evidence? Changes to Avril's appearance, handwriting, and sense of style. Sounds crazy, right? Avril sure thinks so. It's just a dumb internet rumor, and I'm flabbergasted that people bought into it, she told Entertainment Weekly in 2019. People are allowed to change, and Taylor Swift has had 9 eras, you guys. Like, it's okay for somebody to reinvent themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Madonna has done it way too many times for someone at her age. Madonna, it's okay. You can just go. Just let somebody else have the spotlight and maybe start a skincare routine line. I don't know. Tell everybody that they can
do a fad diet.
Yeah, tell everybody they can also be snatched and have a face that looks like they've had a facelift without actually getting a facelift by telling them to use some green coffee bean extract in their moisturizer or something.
I never know. That could work.
This one is specifically for you, Larz.
Oh,
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison both died young from heart attacks in the early 70s. Yet they've allegedly been seen and alive and well, time and time again over the years, prompting rumors that they both faked their deaths. Some fans point to discrepancies in Elvis's death certificate as proof he faked his death so that after a lifetime of fame, he could finally live in obscurity and retire in peace. And because an autopsy was never performed on Jim's body, there are several lingering questions about how and where or if he really died. Several witnesses have reported seeing an aged hippie hanging around Jim's grave at the Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris, a popular tourist destination. Could it be Jim checking on the flowers by his tombstone?
So Elvis' middle name was Aaron.
Okay.
On his birth certificate, it's spelled Aron. On his tombstone, it's Aaron.
Okay.
So that part of the conspiracy was adopted right away when he died because he was very superstitious.
Okay.
And he would have never allowed that if he were alive.
I was going to say, but he's dead, so like he couldn't do anything about it anyway,
right, but like that's why like it wasn't legit. Like it's not a legit tombstone because they think he's like actually alive. So he's superstitious, therefore like they misspelled his middle name. So on purpose.
You've been to the house in Graceland, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And
I'm a huge Elvis fan, by the way, y'all. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the show, but I am. Ever since I was a kid, I love that man.
Was it you or did somebody at the tour ask if he was upstairs?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
It was a joke, but I
Okay.
mean, like, I'm not serious. I don't think that he's alive.
Okay.
He loved his family and his fans too much. I think, and he was very sick towards the end. He was very ill.
Yeah.
A lot of substance abuse,
Yeah.
alcoholism.
Hollywood fucking ate him up.
Well, it wasn't really Hollywood. It was just his music, the industry, and like fucking Colonel Tom Parker, his producer and manager, was
Played
awful.
by Tom Hanks in the movie, which
Did a
was
great
so-
job. Balled through the entire film.
Yes, and I finished that movie and I looked over at Nicholas and I said,
Sad.
"What if they're doing this to Britney? I swear to God, if they come out with a movie like this for Britney and we don't find out until much later in the times that
They will.
that I'll be so heartbroken." That's another conspiracy, is that, which I totally the evidence is there.
Yeah.
The Britney Spears that we're seeing on Instagram is not really Britney. It can't
It's weird.
possibly.
And her teeth are different.
Her teeth are different.
But that could be
Well, anybody's
age,
you're
whatever.
right. Anybody's teeth could change, but I mean, would Britney? What would Britney do? Would Britney really let her teeth? I wouldn't say that they look bad, but I feel like she would take care of herself.
But if your mental health is not there, maybe. I mean,
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. And no, you're right. But here's the thing,
It's
you guys. It is odd.
Yeah.
Britney has, I don't want to talk about her like she is dead, but she has a discography of many years of singing and dancing. Mm-hmm. And I know what lithium can do to a person's mind if they've been on it for too long, and she was force-fed lithium for like 13 years. And I do know that by coming off of medication like that abruptly, it can change a person. You do have to be weaned off of medications like that. The person that we're seeing on Instagram dancing is not
Britney Spears.
It's not Britney Spears. It can't possibly be her. And there are people on TikTok that will take like reverse engineered artificial filter crap, CGI, I don't know, all these technical fancy things. The computer program can measure the authenticity of people's faces. And the one photo, it was like 13% human, but like the picture of her supposed husband, he was like in the high 90s. Mm-hmm. Videos of like glitches happening from like her wedding, where like her hand kind of disappears behind Paris Hilton's hair. The priest from her wedding, like the video of them walking away from the aisle and the priest is like kind of like frozen stiff in the position that he's in. He's not moving. And I don't remember what video or whose wedding that he was at, but it was like, this is the same guy. It really saddens me because I would be so disheartened if we find out that something has happened to her, because she was my queen.
If that did happen to her, do you think that they would ever come out with it? Maybe years from now.
Years
but
from
like,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're our old little gay men sitting on a lawn chair and
Yeah, that's going to be it. If I make it to 80 years old, I will. They'll be like, well, recent studies have found that Britney died back in 2007.
right? Can you imagine? Oh my God.
I'd be like, it's time for me to go.
Right? I have to leave now. I'm sick.
Britney, I'm coming to heaven.
But I feel that way again, like about Elvis. I completely understand. I wish he was alive. That would be super cool. That would just ruin like his mystique of who he was. He died very young. His death made him even more, unfortunately, impactful in people's lives.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson.
Like Michael Jackson. Unpopular opinion. I'm sure so many people are going to come for my head, but Michael Jackson's a piece of shit too. So I think the allegations against him when it came to like Macaulay Culkin, I don't think that those were true, but some of the other things that have come to surface in the past few years about other children being at his ranch.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary recently and it just brought so much into focus for me, and I just lost a lot of like respect for him.
Return to Neverland documentary.
I think so. It was made by one of the boys that was his name was Wade Robinson, and he was actually the choreographer for NSYNC for years.
Okay.
It just hit me. How could this have happened and we just didn't Well, I mean, I know why we didn't know about it, but
Because money.
yeah.
Money hides everything.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
that's what we do here. There's so many people who are going to come for my head. They're just like, you need to get rid of him and Jared. He doesn't like T Swift, make Michael Jackson. The fuck.
Well, so this is
Anyway.
there is a theory that all of these people in power or like celebrities are actually reptilians.
Blink, blink.
Blink, blink. And reptilians are also called reptoids, archons, reptilioids, saurians, draconions, or lizard people. I butchered the fuck out of these words. Or lizard people are supposed reptilian humanoids, which play a prominent role in fantasy, science fiction, ufology, and conspiracy theories. The idea of reptilians was popularized by David Icke, a conspiracy theorist who claimed shape-shifting reptilian aliens controlled by...
The royal family. He was the one that talked about the royal family and reptilians.
Oh,
like he
really?
coined that on BBC. Yeah. Crazy.
David Icke, thank you so much for your work.
Right? Thanks, David.
He claimed that reptilian alien controls Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. Icke has stated on Icke has stated on multiple occasions that many world leaders are or possessed by so-called reptilians. I know for a fact that we are not the only sentient species in this entire galaxy. The belief that aliens have come down to like Earth and abducted people and then like impregnated their genetics into other humans to create like a hybrid, that I would totally believe. I mean, you've got people with blood types that can't be recognized by modern day science. And it is believed that those are bloodlines of aliens. But as far as the reptilians go, there is a belief that they take on form of humans again, and they will get put into positions of power or influence. And the reptilian species is actually the ones who are pedophilic, or they're pedophiles, and that's why like the big top celebrities.
Why? Like, what is it about children? Is it because of their youth?
That part I don't know, but I do believe I think that to other potential alien species, so like here on Earth, we see that factually as disgusting. It's disgusting. It's not right. It's immoral. And in other potential species of existence, those things are not immoral because it's just a way of living for them. That is an opinion. I do not have factual information or research behind that. Professor of political science Michael Burken at Syracuse University posts that his idea of reptilian conspiracy originated in the fiction of Conan the Barbarian. Creator
I've never seen that movie.
Creator Robert E. Howard in his story The Shadow Kingdom, published in Weird Tales in August of 1929. The story drew on the theosophical ideas of the lost worlds of Atlantis and Lemuria, particularly of Helena Blavatsky, the Secret Doctrine, written in 1888, with its reference to dragon men who once had a mighty civilization on Lemurian continent. Howard's serpent men were described as humanoids with human bodies and snake heads, who were able to imitate as humans at will, and who lived in underground passages and used their shape-shifting and mind-controlling abilities to infiltrate humanity. Clark Ashton Smith used Howard's serpent men in his stories as well as themes from H.P. Lovecraft, and he and Howard Lovecraft together laid the basis for the Cthulhu mythos, which is the big spaghetti god. And there are videos of like people in power, and they're like their eyes do this weird like
do the side blank.
Yes.
Remember Men in Black?
Well, so oh my god, that's so funny that you say that.
Yeah, like
two things. No, I haven't seen Men in Black.
what?
Because as a kid,
it's so good.
As a kid, I saw a preview for it, and there's that part when the octopus squid thing like jumps out. That scared me as a kid. So I was like, I'm not going to watch that movie. Also, in last week's episode, I lied to you about something, and I caught it on the recording when I was editing. Remember when I told you that I would lie to people because I wanted to seem cool and act like I know what I'm talking about? You asked me about the pussycat.
Oh, Joseph.
I I've never seen it, but I was like,
You should watch
totally.
it. It's so funny.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'd be lying if I said that I've never done that. Sometimes I still do it as an adult. You know what I mean?
I do, but I'm like listening back, and I was like, Jaron, you never fucking watched that movie. You're like, you know that movie? And I was like, yeah, totally. You know that one part? Yeah, that's
you and Nicholas would actually probably really enjoy that movie. It's very funny.
Oh, and the Men in Black is a conspiracy theory as well, because the Men in Black are these like government officials hired by the government to maintain and protect the
intergalactic.
Yes, to protect the information on UFOs and aliens, which at this point, like,
we know they're real. The government even said it.
Yeah, and they came out with the information at the height of the pandemic, of course.
They're like, here's some little sprinkles on top.
Yes, that's what happens here in America. They like to distract us with a bigger issue and then do shit behind closed doors at 4:00 in the morning.
They're like, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so why don't we just give the people what they want?
Give the people what they want.
Tell them that they're real and we've been lying to them all this time.
Right.
But actually, it hasn't really been a lie per se. It's just been they've been trying to keep it under wraps for so long.
Yeah.
And they did an awful job about it, because there's so many people who are just like whistleblowers. They're like, I was abducted, or I was probed. There was this alien, and I woke up and didn't know where I was, and my pants were off.
And then I woke up next to a cow in a farm in the middle of nowhere. I was actually going through my phone, not like going through like searching but for anything by any means, but there was something that came up about like how Nancy Reagan was abducted by aliens, and she did an interview with Time Magazine, and Ronald did everything that he could to shut it down and to keep it under wraps.
Fucking Ronald Reagan. He was so good looking though when he was younger. Have you seen him?
No, because I don't want to fetishize my oppressors.
You would fetishize him if you saw him. I won't show you. I'll let you do what you will with that information. Okay. But super good looking.
I'll go. I was going to say something sexual that doesn't even pertain to me. I was going to say I'll go flick my own bean about that later, but I don't even have a bean to flick. I watched this TikTok the other day of this girl. She was talking about how she was having cravings for fast food because she's trying to eat healthier. And she was like, I would give my left labia lip for a fucking Big Mac right now. I was like, I would grow a labia lip for a Big Mac right now.
My God.
So what beautiful ones do you have for me, Larz?
Well, there is a belief that my mother has held very close to her.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, there is a belief that my mother is
a monster. Yeah. No. Mary. Oh, boy.
The Immaculate Conception.
She might have at one point believed she was Mary.
Okay, but listen, in her defense, the amount of times young girls that grow up in a church, if they miss their period, the first thing that comes to their mind, yes, is that they're pregnant. I had so many girlfriends in middle school and high school that were like, I haven't had my period in a week. Am I gonna be pregnant? Am I gonna have baby Jesus?
And you're like, have you had sex? And they're like, no. And they're like, well, then what the fuck are you talking about?
Because they were told that it happened to somebody else.
Yeah.
So they think that that's going to happen to them, and it's like, no, honey, you're just late because there's a lot of hormones in your food.
Yeah, especially those school lunches. But there is a couple cases in the world about immaculate conception, but it's not immaculate. It's scientific evidence behind like how a woman's body can create life.
Sure, because it's been known to happen in nature.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it wouldn't be the second coming of Christ, but I mean, but like, it has happened, which is nuts. My mother has always talked to me about Nephilim.
Nephilim?
Yes. Have you ever heard of Nephilim?
Never heard of it.
People of faith of Christianity believe that the Nephilim were the outcome of fallen angels having sex with humans and creating giants.
That's hot.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, everybody's taller than I am, so might as well make them giants.
Like there's so much biblical passages and even books from the Bible that aren't even in the Bible that we have, like the book of Enoch talks a lot about fallen angels laying with humans and creating these babies that would grow up to be the Nephilim that were giants. So like when we have David and Goliath, he's Nephilim. Goliath is a Nephilim.
Is that why like some of those buildings, I think they're in like Rome, but like the doors are fucking huge?
They say that that's like one of the things that they kind of like theorize.
Yeah. Like
but
the locks are like as big as a door.
Yeah. Like there's some things that are larger than what we would be used to just because like for instance the Romans were just like extravagant with everything.
Okay.
Like they just loved big things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I need a big door. I need a big door.
But there is this held belief by many people, not just my mom. Like this is a huge thing. Like this is it's almost like a core belief for some people. Like it's pretty intense. Like the people that believe it are really, really like fixated on it.
Go get some EMDR on that.
No kidding. But there has been theories that the Smithsonian actually has skeletons of giants.
Okay.
And that they keep them in the basement. Because they were on display, but again, like you have your Christian theologies, like theologies of people who are coming into power who believe that the Smithsonian, it being a progressive museum, wanted to hide it because it would prove that the Bible was true. I mean, could it be possible? Sure, because the Bible states that the angels were massive. Like they're huge.
They're like, be not afraid. Sir, I am very fucking afraid.
The idea of it being a fallen angel
is
even more interesting because that's like 1/3 of heaven that the devil took with him when he was casted out of heaven. So like you have like that corrupt period that they always try to like figure out where that happened on earth when they actually fell from heaven. So like then you have like these angels walking around trying to fornicate with God's humans and then creating these monsters. Isn't that wild?
That is very wild.
Yeah. If this conversation is just spooking you out, don't Google anything.
Yeah, don't Google anything
because like there's like footage of like they think that they found Nephilim still around in the Middle East.
I'm still hot over the fact of like angels having sex with humans. like
so if we're gonna talk about angels in like the Bible and like the New and the Old Testament, it was just a fucking ring of rings with a bunch of eyeballs on it. So like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
Where does the sexual organ come from?
I know, and that's the thing that is hard for me to understand because like these angels were made in perfect image of God, so they wouldn't have had a need for any type of genitalia.
Christianity's dying in America. Good.
And that's the tea. I would like to there's a couple things that I find very interesting about this.
Okay.
That I think you would enjoy hearing.
Okay.
And our audience would enjoy hearing because I'm sure that this is something that not many people know about.
Are you guys ready?
Are you ready for this?
Are you ready? Grab a blanket, go hide.
Get some popcorn.
Stop driving your vehicle. Pull over at a safe rest stop.
Yeah. About a year ago, I was informed of a group of people called the Sovereign Nationalists.
Okay.
This is a group of people that believe that the American government set up by the Founding Fathers under a common law legal system was secretly replaced. They think that the replacement government swapped common law for admiralty law, which is the law of sea and international commerce.
Okay. So, like, this is a secret society.
So, according to their belief, the government has pledged its citizens as collateral by selling future earning capabilities to foreign investors, effectively enslaving all Americans.
And that's why we're working all the time.
So, that is why we're working.
Okay.
This begins when you were born. This is what they believe. They believe that when you were born in the U.S., that your birth certificate is actually a government contract from your parents to them. that they own you as a
like a business?
as a corporation.
Okay. Ooh,
So-
I'm a corporation.
Yeah, so
Where's
you're
my
born-
tax cuts?
Nuts, right? So you're born into the U.S.
Okay.
When they pop you out, they clean you up.
You out like
Your
you're
mom
a zit.
pops you out. Dad pops you out. Everybody can like men can have children too.
You just having individuals. It's all
yes, yes.
true.
They create a birth certificate. The hospitals do,
Okay.
and they have your parents sign it. Correct.
Okay. Yep.
And your name is on all capital letters.
Okay.
And that you are now owned by the U.S. government, and that your parents sign your life away
Oh my god.
on that birth certificate, and that your social security number
It's like your
is a
tax
corporate
ID.
trust in their baby's name.
Okay.
They believe that it could be as high as $20 million.
Ooh, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen, gays, theys, and thems? I'm worth something.
Yeah, no kidding. They believe that this is called a Treasury Direct Account or a TDA. So every newborn's rights are split between those held by the flesh and blood baby and the ones assigned to his or her corporate shell account. So your Social Security is a corporate shell account that's in your name, and the government owns you and pulls money out of your Social Security account because they're wheeling and dealing you like trafficking, basically.
So then where's all this money going?
You can still get it. It's still yours.
I can access it?
You can access your money in your Social Security account. Yeah. The beginning of this belief or this group of people was founded by a man named William Potter Gale. He is a former member of the John Birch Society. He wanted to form this group because he was anti-government and he was a Christian. He believed that the country wasn't going in the way that it should, just like we still are dealing with today, and that there was a huge mistrust of state and federal officials. From what I can understand from the information that I read, this belief stemmed from a couple events happening in history. So when the gold standard changed over, that money just doesn't exist.
It costs money to make money.
Yeah, in that Abraham Lincoln actually sold the U.S. when he was president.
Okay.
So like to foreign investors. So like there is like the U.S. corporation and then there's the United States of America.
Okay.
So there's actually like two parts to the country.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
The lady on TikTok said that it was like the if you don't ask the right question, then you're not going to get the correct answer. You have to ask specific questions. And so she was like, well, if you Google this specific thing, then it comes up on the White House that like the United States is like a business entity of some sort.
The source that I have for this was very thorough. They didn't have the information of what the people of this group study, obviously, because it's very like held secret. Like it's not something that you can access. You have to be a part of a group to access the information that they believe. Like
the Freemasons.
I'm sure a lot of Freemasons are part of this group for sure.
Yeah, the satanic cult,
because it's very grounded in Christian ideology. Because they believe that the country needs to be taken back to like its roots, whatever roots they believe that is, which is. They believe that it's a Christian nation, which it's not. It's my land, and you can shut the fuck up. It's not a Christian nation. This is my home. Anyway, one of the things that they do to try to make themselves known, or what they try to accomplish in this group, is it's called paper terrorism.
Paper terrorism?
Yeah, so it's paper terrorism. Just basically means that they will do anything in their power to get legal documents worded correctly for them to get away with anything.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that they do is that they ask Secretary of State to give them a new birth certificate that claims them a national citizen so that they are not owned by the United States of America anymore.
Okay.
So like they completely like revamp, like they cut ties with the government. And the only way to do that is to access documents that the Secretary of State has. And apparently you have to jump through all of these hoops. So it just fuels the conspiracy even more because they're feeling like they can't like get this information that they should be able to get so easily. So they're like, well, what are they hiding?
Yeah. Okay.
They believe that anything that you have that the government has on document is it's a license, but you really don't have any freedom with that license. So like an operating license for your car.
Okay.
you shouldn't have to have an operating license for your car because you are a U.S. citizen on the street. So they believe that the operating license is just another form of control from the government, saying that like you shouldn't have to have an operating license. It's just a state government issued thing for control.
Okay.
Which, sure, but they'll try to get out of that. So like also like marriage license. They'll try to get out of paying income taxes because they believe that it's just not, which it is unconstitutional. I will give them that. It's not been like actually documented as real, but they say that when you are going into a court of law, you're literally called a subject and you're being called to court, and that the judges are wearing black because they literally summon you from the dead.
Oh, that one is spooky.
Yeah. So like you're not really even a human. You're just a piece of that's like a corporation that's making money for the government, and you're going in front of a judge, and they have to summon you because they're summoning you up from the dead.
Well, here's where my mind went with that. So like none of this is really real, and this is. If we lifted the veil, we would find out that we are all just earth as hell, and we are just living for the rich and the government and all of these secret entities because they are controlling all of this land and everything that we do.
So there are a few different sects of this group.
Okay.
Currently, they're unsure of how many actual people who identify as a sovereign citizen, but they're thinking like maybe 500,000 people. So I mean, it's not.
So like the 1%.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
No.
The way to join a group is to just by networking.
Secret societies.
Yeah, so like most of the ways to get involved is to go online, and you have to network through that way, and then they actually have you take a class, and you go through this class, and then you get certified. But they still ask for money.
You have to prove your worth.
Yeah.
Freemasons.
And they actually help you go step by step on how to like become a sovereign citizen.
This sounds like Freemasonry.
Which ties all the cuts from the government.
Look, I just want no ties to any fucking thing.
One of the biggest sects of this ideology, is called the Republic for the United States of America, or RUSA. They market themselves as sovereign Christians who are forming a government that would one day run America. And this is probably the biggest group, and a lot of the people who are involved are probably in this specific group, and it's led by a man named James Timothy Turner.
I've heard this name before.
He's in Alabama
and Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas.
We also have the National Liberty Alliance, which is involved with them. There are a few states that are listed.
That Christian one that you mentioned previously, they're the ones that are pushing the extremist Christian values onto everything.
Probably because they're all working together.
Okay.
But I didn't read anything on that. I didn't see any information on that. Yeah, I heard about it and I wanted to dive deep. And there is actually a lot of information about the ideology, but there's not a whole lot of information about what they actually learn on the inside.
Okay.
So one of the branches is the constitutional sovereigns. So these individuals use the Constitution to make claims that the federal government is illegitimate in overreaching its intended authority. They have used this belief to justify extreme and illegal acts against the federal government and its assorted agencies. It's called the Bundy family. So, not that Bundy. Claiming that the government was tyrannically encroaching on their rights, they refused to pay their grazing fees, which were $1 million in affairs, and justified their use of armed occupation and protest as resistance to preserve tyranny. So, like, they believe that just like every extreme group, that their rights are being encroached on.
So some of that, I don't think it's too crazy. I mean, I definitely think that the U.S. government has really been pushing some sort of agenda of like trying to control us. I mean, we're essentially not really stuck here, but it is very hard for us to like leave this country if we want to. The way that capitalism has enslaved all of us into working so that the richer people can continue to get more rich and the poorer people get more poor. I would definitely align myself with some of those things and But I don't know necessarily about like trying to control us by like driver's license and things, because it's like that seems like a safety thing, you know. But then again, like not every country requires those things, and also not every country even has travel system like we do here, you know.
Yeah. One more thing before we wrap up. Something that was kind of silly.
Is this the diamonds?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us.
I forgot about that because it wasn't in this information that I read up on. But because they believe that they're above law, then they believe that their rights as a citizen, like they should be able to do freely, basically whatever they want. But so there was a situation where there was a subgroup that created their own, basically, police regime.
Oh,
he called them the Marshals.
This is happening right now.
Yeah,
with certain religious sects.
Yeah, and like QAnon, you know, like stuff like that. So like.
QAnon.
So that's another example of kind of like they just believe that they're just above the law, and sometimes they'll. There was a situation that they went to a prison and tried to, with a fake badge and fake like IDs and everything, and they went into a prison and tried to get one of their friends out. So like they've gone to like some extreme lengths to like create like their own just like fantasy world. It's kind of scary. So that was kind of like a mix between a conspiracy and also actual events that are taking place around this group, but
that was really
creepy.
But
yeah, there's hearsay about some like what Jaron mentioned about the diamonds, about their that the government and the elite, the 1%. Is the trafficking of young children is partially in because they are trying to take children and they're making them out of diamonds, or that they're making them into diamonds or using something of that nature to create diamonds.
And they're supposed. This is not like a diamond that you would like wear, right? This is a diamond like to do something with.
Yeah, like
late freaking laser beams.
Yeah, or something like So this is all very, very intense, and unfortunately, not a lot of information around it. But like that is what we have heard.
And that is the conspiracy, everybody. Man, those lines be lining. That's gonna be loud. Sorry for all that, everyone. Oh dang! Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us today.
So welcome.
I really loved that one. I hope we didn't spook anybody out too bad. And I also hope that you guys really liked this episode and the format of what we did. And I hope that you like us and tell us you like us.
And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Next week, we are going to get into some gay shit.
For Pride
Month. So tell your queer friends, because we are going to be here and we're going to be doing some stuff.
We're going to be here in queer.
Oh, the moon is so pretty today.
And it's so nice and cool outside.
I know. Ooh, cool. Like a cucumber.
Cool.
Ooh. Doodle-doo. In the night.
When the light.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, you guys know what to do. Do the thing. If you like us, come follow us on all of our social media platforms. Tell your friends. Don't forget to download our episodes and email us. What kind of conspiracies do you guys?
Yeah.
What do you have? What do you know? What do you believe in? Nothing is.
What do you find interesting?
Yeah, I don't think that any of those are like. No, I'm gonna take that back. I was gonna say I don't think any of those are too crazy, but I mean, obviously, some of them are very crazy. It's just a matter of like. We talked about the conspiracies, and now all of our phones are going off. Anyway, we got so distracted. But yeah, let us know, guys. Send us an email, even if you just want to tell us how silly we are.
Yeah.
Or even if you even think that any of this was so far out there that you think that we're crazy, let us know. Let us know.
Yes.
We just want to hear from you.
Yes, we do.
Or send us your conspiracies.
Yeah, tell us what you think about Britney. And if there's any Elvis lovers out there. Hi. Hi.
Oh, man. Well, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day. If you're listening after Memorial Day, I hope you had a nice week. And you will hear from us next Monday. And we love you so very much.
Bye.
You're supposed to say you love them.
Oh, yeah. We love you. I love you very much.
And you will hear from us next week.
Bye.